everyone, this is Ian Miller,
Going on, guys? It's Andrew.
and welcome to another episode of Media Talk with Miller and Smith. Tonight we actually have three topics. We're going to our thoughts and reviews of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny and Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. But first, we're actually going to talk about a convention I was just a part of. I think it was last week. And this was Eternal Con, which was actually at Hofstra University here in New York. And I was there. I had a table there for my company that I co-founded with another friend of mine, Eric Hernandez, Triple Threat Comics, and my comic was Codename Hunter. That's right. I created a comic book. It is a sci-fi spy thriller. So picture, if you will, James Bond, Star Trek, a little bit of Star Wars, dash across the galaxy, and you get Codename Hunter. And one second, hold on. And here, folks, is one of the issues. Number two. Yes. And I actually premiered at TurtleCon issue 3, the long-awaited issue 3. Believe me, this was in development hell, folks, because I was working on so many other projects. It was unbelievable. But this is issue 3. Cool cover, huh?
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, this is filled with 28 pages. Normally I go for 24, but this was too big and it had a huge cliffhanger. So if you guys are interested in buying a copy or any of issues 1 through 3, please make your thoughts known in the comments or privately email me.
Yes. You guys should if you don't follow him at Triple Threat Comics. He's awesome. He does a lot of work. So a lot of you fans out there, if you don't follow him on Instagram, follow him. He puts a lot of stuff out there, the stuff that he's doing, the drawings and everything, the sketches. So it's pretty good and interesting follow. So please give that a follow at Triple Threat Comics on Instagram.
Or Comics Threat at Twitter.
That too. So yes, I and also Andrew Feller, who a lot of you know.
Yeah.
We went to see him at his convention, see how everything was doing and how his sales were. Everything go okay? Sales were good.
Sales were actually pretty good. It was actually my first convention back, obviously since COVID started,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it's been a convention back, and it was pretty good. The sales were pretty good. I was feeling pretty good, pretty confident. And what was great was, even though it was a smaller convention,
Yeah.
I knew a lot of the people there, and I also made new connections, so that was always good. And especially if you're on a comic book basis like I am, it's always helpful to actually get more connections with other comic book artists and writers because you guys could actually collaborate on a project. I was hoping a friend of ours, Joe, who created what was it? He had a graphic novel from Dark Horse Comics. I'm trying to remember what it was called. Joe, I apologize if is drawing if my mind's drawing a blanket. Anyway, I'm pretty sure I'll remember it, and when the video comes out, I'll make sure that the link is there to where you can find Joe's book.
Yeah, it was I think the name escapes me too. I think it was wasn't it like Children in the Woods or something?
Children in the Woods. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Joe, again, I am sorry. I am sorry.
Joe, don't Joe, if you're watching this, I backed him up, so we got this.
Yeah. Yeah, but he's a talented writer. And if you haven't checked out Children of the Woods, please do. It's from Dark Horse Comics. But yeah, the convention was fun. But what else did you guys do while I was actually wheeling and dealing my own comics? What were you doing?
Yes, good question. We were walking around, just checking out the sites and everything, checking out the exhibits, all the all the artists and stuff like that. Um, well, we did see the Star Trek guy, Brent Spiner. So that was pretty cool. But the most cool part, which I actually got a memory of now, was actually they had a real life Batmobile in the middle of the exhibit.
Really?
Yeah, which was pretty cool. And then on the side of the Batmobile, that looked like they had Christian Bale's Batman like right there. So that was pretty cool. And he's standing right next to it. Um, but what was more interesting, was more fun. Um, like I said, now I have a memory of it. I actually got to take a photo inside the Batmobile.
Oh, which Batmobile was it?
I'm pretty sure it was Michael Keaton's.
The '89 Batmobile.
I'm
Ah,
pre- I'm pretty sure. I gotta double check that. I think I have it. But
jealous. I'm jealous.
well, you were off doing your photos and such, so
Yeah.
uh, stellar. So I will show this to you. You should know. Um, don't worry, folks. The photo will be out there momentarily, but you should know. See if you can get a good look at that.
Oh, that's the '89 Batmobile. Oh, but you know what, folks? I'm okay with this because I actually got to sit the '66 Batmobile.
When was that?
Oh, this was a couple of years ago. I got a couple of photos of that, which I will actually obviously put in the episode.
Okay, all right. So you got.
Unfortunately, I could not push any of the buttons because I wasn't sure if this is actually one of the real cars. Because this is the thing about the '66 Batmobile, and I'm pretty sure this is true about the '89 one. A lot of the stuff that they actually put into a lot of the gadgets they put in the cars, they actually worked.
Wow,
And
that's
the way the
awesome.
sheet works in the '66 Batmobile, I can't swear to that, but a lot of the other ones did work.
Okay, all right. Well, this Batmobile, it didn't have the steering wheel or anything, and um, yeah, I mean, when we tried to push the buttons or the lever or anything like that, it didn't work. So that was kind of a letdown, but
Yeah,
but either way, it was pretty cool just to get that feeling of being inside the Batmobile and just pretending for like 1 second.
yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
I'm actually told that when you go do the Warner Brothers studio tour in California, you can actually sit in one of them.
Ooh, do we
So,
know which one?
well, they actually change it up a bit from what I'm told. One day
Okay.
the Keaton one, one the other day it's the Kilmer one, then the Bale, and so on.
Oh,
Why
so
the hell am I sitting in the convertible Clooney one? I want to see her, and it's a convertible. No, thank you.
yeah, no, I wouldn't want to be in that one.
Okay, but
But
yeah,
yeah,
that was my weekend. And of course, it was their weekend, and they had a good time. And I certainly had a good time doing it. And I'm gonna be back on the road soon.
yes. So so pretty much like you said, it was fun. Had a great time. Um, hopefully one of these years you'll actually actually be at near Comic Con at a table in the
Uh,
David Center. Hopefully one of these years.
I'm hoping, but here's the thing, folks. It costs a lot of money. You gotta save up a lot. You know, what's even worse is the San Diego one because you gotta really save enough money for that. But also, you gotta plan that a year ahead because you gotta get, your airline ticket. You gotta get the hotel. Make sure you cover your table and all that stuff. So
Exactly.
I'm not quite ready for that, but I'm definitely ready for New York Comic Con. May not be this year, but it'll be next year.
Yes, definitely. And just one more touch on that, just really quickly. Hopefully, as many of you know, New York Comic Con is in October. I forget the dates. I think it's like the 6th or something. I got to take a look at the dates again. But as many of you know, the ongoing writer strike and the actor strike is going on right now. So we can only hope and pray that it does not affect the convention this year, and hopefully they come to an agreement within the next couple months.
Well, San Diego Comic Con has actually been greatly suffered because a lot of their films and television panels have been canceled because it is a written agreement that no actor can promote any film or television production in a convention or even on social media. So because of that, a lot of panels have been canceled. So we still have a lot of complicated panels, but not sure to how much television is left. But
Mm.
my bet is if both of the strikes actually are settled before October, it's very possible that we might be getting some of their film and television panels, getting some of San Diego's business. I can't swear to that, but it's only a theory.
We can only hope.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and then well, just one more thing. It was out there that the cast of Oppenheimer had to walk out of their premiere because of the writer and actor strike. So they would not participate in seeing the movie or being at the anything like that. So
I completely understand that. I am for that 100%. I'm for the writers and the actors. Have you heard
absolutely.
of the actor strike? This is the same, folks. It now appears that studio productions now want to actually, use AI to create the background actors
Hmm.
of these productions, which means the background people are not going to get their pay. They're not going to come to work every day because the studios want to use AI.
Hmm.
I have to tell you, this infuriates me because a lot of the background people, these background actors, this is their passion. This is their bread and butter. You know, this is how they get put food on the table because they're spending a lot of hours, on productions in the background, you know, sometimes waiting for the next shot. So they're there, they're committed because, like I said, this is their passion. And suddenly the studio system is not going to try to take away the passion. No, no, I'm sorry. This is wrong. This is all levels are wrong because this has been around for since movies began.
Hmm.
Background people from the beginning. To take away that is take away tradition, and as we know, Hollywood doesn't care about tradition anymore. They're throwing it all out the window. And if they're not paying the writers their fair share, you take away from the actors. You're trying to change the whole industry. Yes, I don't change the level, but not this type of change. This is just plain wrong. And also, this is the worst case scenario because, God forbid, what if they decide to use AI and other stuff as well?
Yeah, I mean, eh, it's just a mess right now. And most of this, well, not most of it, but it's also related to streaming services too.
Yeah.
I mean, you get a lot of stuff on streaming services now, and like you said, they're not getting paid their fair share. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's a mess.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, yeah, it's
Hopefully, this problem goes away, and both of these strikes get settled the right way, and both parties, actors and writers, get what their fair share. They get what they rightfully deserve.
yes, because they're what makes this is our entertainment. This is our world. I mean, like you said, they've been making movies for years and TV shows, and you know, we just want an escape from real life. Just for a couple hours. Just I don't know.
Yeah,
Just
yeah, right.
yeah. I mean, if we don't have movies and TV shows, I mean, what else would we do? So,
Well, I know what else I would do.
you,
That's
but
beside the point.
yes, but hopefully they will get this resolved in the next couple months, hopefully.
But the right way. The right
The
way.
right way and their fair share, yes.
Yeah. Speaking of going to the movies and just leaving our, reality behind, let's talk about the two recent films that we've seen. And
Yes.
we're talking about Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny and Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Which one should we start with first?
Let's start Dead Reckoning Part 1 because we just saw that.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. Okay. Tom Cruise comes back for another movie starring as Ethan Hunt.
I like how you put that. Another movie.
Another movie. So he is back for the seventh film. So for any of you who haven't seen it yet, since it came out this weekend, either mute or turn it off and come back on. I mean,
Yeah. There's gonna be some mild spoilers. We're not gonna spoil everything, but there's gonna be some mild
no.
spoilers.
Yes. So turn it off now. We'll give you a second.
Da, 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 da. Good. All right.
Okay. So Tom Cruise is back for Mission Impossible, seventh film. This one was, I would actually say this is actually my favorite Mission Impossible. What do you think?
Series Part 1. We haven't seen Part 2 yet, so everything
No.
might change. But yeah, I think the longest time I've held Fallout to be one of the best ones, but
Mhm.
really knocks Fallout, from that. So Fallout's number 2. Dead Reckoning Part 1's number 1 right now.
Yes, for right now. But for Dead Reckoning Part 1, and just as all of you know, as of right now, this Part 1 will be the send off of Tom Cruise's Ethan Hunt. Part 2 will be his end, although he has expressed interest of coming back for a ninth movie, but we'll see.
Please don't do it because you're in your 60s now, okay? At some point, there's too much, there's so much you can take in your body, so don't do a ninth installment. If you do, just do it as a producer. Just do it as a producer.
Yes, Tom, if you're watching this, we you're really great as Ethan Hunt. We loved your movies, but there is a fine line between, getting too old for movies.
Or just completely nuts.
Which you are not. You are not completely nuts. But
You're not nuts, but we are generally concerned by some of the stunts you do in these movies. But I'll get to that in a second.
yes. But I'll turn it over to you in a second. But just a quick recap of Ethan pretty much faces his toughest threat yet. The villain in this movie did a great job. The villain in this movie was Gabriel, played by Isai Morales. He's been in a lot of things. I'm sure most of you all know him. He played in Titans as Deathstroke. He was in Criminal Minds for a few episodes for a season. He was actually the good guy in that one. But he plays a great bad guy. But anyway, he's the bad guy in this movie. He's pretty much someone from Ethan's past. And as we do see in a flashback, he does hurt someone. He does kill someone that Ethan apparently cared about. We don't know who that person was, but he genuinely cared for her a lot. But overall, this movie was action packed. It was on the edge of your seat. It was it just had me on the edge of my seat from beginning to end. But you have Kittredge coming back, who hasn't been back since the first movie. So that's going to be interesting to see him in the next movie. But um, what was your overall reaction to the movie?
It had so many twists and turns. I was not sure, what what Kid Rich's role was, especially considering his past with Ethan. But it was clear, for the first 10 minutes, I was like, okay, he's on this path. He kind of has a grudge against Ethan
Right.
because Ethan tries to, do the right thing, even when that right thing is a very hard thing to do.
Yes.
It goes against the grain, and once again, he and his team has to go rogue in this movie because
Yes.
that's what they do. And apparently, Kid Rich actually points us out: this is what you do. You go rogue.
Yes, you do. Um, I mean, I don't know how they're going to end it, but pretty much they the threat is, I guess we can say it's digital. I guess it's like a
It's an it's the entity.
it's the entity. Yeah, I mean it's I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it, but
We're dealing with pretty much a computer program that is playing four-dimensional chess. That's pretty much it.
pretty much.
Very calculating. It makes its moves very precise and tries to see any possible outcome. And this is artificial intelligence. So this is a big problem here because this one is very calculating and it's very obvious that it doesn't mind wiping humanity from the face of the planet.
No.
Problem with that because humans are the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, but they pretty much they pretty much go into their system, hacking their system, you know, um copying their voices, everything just like that. So in this movie, you really didn't know where the entity was, where the entity was coming from, whether you can trust one another. It was just a pretty like you said, it was pretty much, you know, what you said before. I mean,
The entity is everywhere and nowhere.
exactly, exactly.
This thing is still around. Nothing and no one is safe.
Yes. So on that note, um, no one was safe. Unfortunately, Ethan did lose a member from his team. Um,
I can say who.
we're not going to say who. We're not going to say who, but
Yeah. What's interesting about this film is this is very much a chase film because
yes,
no one is chasing this one particular key, a key that can control the entity.
which was well, we're not gonna give you that whole thing. But yes, it does. That key does control where uh it does control the entity, and pretty much Ethan has to find that key and where that key leads to the entity, pretty much. So
Like I said, everyone's looking for that key, including all governments, including the United States government. Everyone wants the key because everyone wants to control the entity. Now, the film does end on a cliffhanger, but it kind of isn't a cliffhanger. It is, but it isn't because, well, I guess you'll find out.
yes. No, I'm
But
sorry. Go ahead.
it was spectacular. The car chase was insane, especially with Tom and Haley Atwell, handcuffed. That was very ingenious.
Mhm.
And stunt driver, especially from his films and Jack Reacher, of course, the recent Mission Impossible one. So he knows how to drive the car and knows what his limits are. But there were two sequences in this film that really kept us on the edge of our seats, literally at the screen. In fact, I kept doing this in one particular scene, and it's when Tom is actually, riding a motorcycle off the cliff. And yes, I did look at the back behind the scenes footage. Cruise actually did do that.
But I saw it wasn't a he didn't it wasn't a cliff though. It
But
was like
that,
a rain.
that
It
was
was a
it was the same exact, so that was a real jump. But
yeah.
the train sequence, we really have to talk about the train sequence here.
Yeah, so the train well what was interesting was that for the train sequence they actually could not get a train. They had to actually build their own train.
Yeah,
It's actually pretty cool and interesting as well.
yeah, they had to make sure they mounted every single camera, especially in the front car, because they had to crash it for real, and they want to make sure the camera kept rolling as it was going off the cliff.
Mhm.
Very similar to Harrison Ford's train sequence in The Fugitive, where they actually did, have multiple cameras on that train sequence, and that was very much for real. That was a real. So yeah, that's a very ingenious thing to do with that. But it was also the fight sequence on top of the train between our hero and our villain. Very physical, and I'm sure they did with some wire work, obviously, but a lot of it did look like they had wire work. But they maintain that everyone's safety is very important, especially with these type of action sequences. But
Mhm.
it just makes you thrilling that you're on top of a moving train and there's a fight sequence. Very, cool. Loved it in Skyfall, so I loved it here.
Yeah. Well, you pointed that out to me when the movie was over that it was kind of similar to the Skyfall fight scene.
Yeah,
Um, which well, this one I thought was actually pretty more intense than the Skyfall one, but they were both kind of similar. So
yeah,
that was pretty cool.
yeah. So if you haven't seen Mission Possible Dead Reckoning Part 1, go and see it now. But I will say there are no scenes at the end, so don't expect that.
Yes, and I just want to point out that these movies right now, like these blockbusters, have not been getting the dollars that that we would hope. They have been very underperforming in the box office. Um, so well, for me, well, we want to urge you to go see these movies, and we'll talk about Indiana Jones in a minute and why. But we want you to go see these movies and have them meet their expectations, have them make the money that they deserve.
And also because we just like to hear you guys actually went to the movies, because this is
Exactly.
an experience. Because when you go to the movies, you're not just experiencing the movie; you're experiencing with seeing with a full audience. You know, if you see the movie at home, it's kind of a cheat because you're just alone, and that's not really a good thing. It's kind of
No, I mean,
it's sideways, but you get what I'm saying. It's always better to see with a bigger group.
exactly.
Go see with your family. Go see with your friends. But please, because we don't want movie theaters to go away. Because I love the experience of going to movies, with my friends or my family, because I get to share the movie with these people, with my people. So yeah,
Exactly. I mean, that's the same for me. And I need to have my popcorn and soda. I mean,
you got no problem getting the popcorn soda. He gets popcorn soda after he has dinner. Literally 5 minutes after dinner. 5 minutes.
how can you not have popcorn and soda out of a movie? I mean, come on.
You
You
just,
have that's the real reason you go to a movie.
just stayed. You just stayed.
Okay, and
I
it's the
understand.
movies, man.
Anyway, so on to Indiana Jones: The Dial of Destiny. We thoroughly enjoyed this movie because we love Indiana Jones. We love the character. We love Harrison Ford playing the character and the journey that the character goes through. There was huge character development in this particular movie, especially with the other characters, the new ones, and the John Williams score. He did not disappoint.
No, no, he didn't. I mean, it's a classic. John Williams. I mean, how can you go wrong with John Williams? I mean, you can't.
Yeah. Now, I know a lot of people had mixed feelings about this one. I know this had mixed reviews, but what I've been hearing is more positive than negative about this movie. Because
Hmm.
I've been seeing it multiple times because that's how much they enjoyed it.
But again, it's not making the money that it should be making for his final movie.
Yeah, because people are not going to the movies very often. And this goes back to, what we said a few minutes ago, go to the movies.
Yes. Um, you guys really should see this movie in particular in the big screen. Can't really see it at home. I mean, you can obviously, but it's much better on the big screen. So please, please, please go see this movie. We urge you, beg you, please go see this movie.
Go see it
Um,
yourself. It doesn't matter if you're going to listen to us, just because we're just giving you our opinion. You should have your opinion.
yes,
Your opinion.
I mean, pretty much he's just returning for his final movie. He's with his you know, with the help of his goddaughter. Um, so he's on the hunt to what was that? What was that artifact again? Um,
Archimedes dial.
his dial. That's it. So he just goes to the ends of the earth to find the Archimedes dial. Um, played he's racing to find it with the villain is actually Mads Mikkelsen, who's actually a very, very great bad guy. A lot of you know him from James Bond series, the Daniel Craig version,
Sure.
um, Casino Royale. So this this movie was fun. It was interesting. It was entertaining. Um, some spoilers we won't give away, but if you haven't seen it yet, but they do bring up what happened to Indiana Jones' son in that movie. Um, and then yeah, it was just it was just an all around fun movie for me. Anyway.
Yeah. Indiana Jones is one of the characters that made me fall in love in movies.
Hmm.
Um, those films just took you out of reality, and that's what this thing's about. These are popcorn movies. They take you out of your reality for a bit, and you get lost in that world with those characters that you grew up with. And that was what Indiana Jones was for me, as well as for many of you fans out there. And to see Harrison Ford's final performance in this was a once in a lifetime experience because at 80, he's still got it.
Yeah, no, he does. I mean, obviously not as much as he did when he was younger, obviously, but he never lost a step after
Oh,
10, 15 years.
yeah. And I had to say that the aging process, that done by LM looked pretty damn good. I mean, I was like, wow, he looks like he did when he started doing the movies. I was like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I mean that was just right on. I mean, I didn't I that was just spot on. I really didn't see any flaws in that de-aging or anything, so they did a really, really great job with that.
yeah. That whole sequence in the beginning was spectacular. It was definitely like a classic Indiana Jones adventure.
Yes. No, I agree. But please go see this movie. Please leave a comment on anything that we talked about tonight. Mission Impossible, Indiana Jones, The Eternal Con.
Just
Uh,
go to the movies because that's what summers are made. Go to the movies.
yes, I mean I know we keep saying it, but we want to hear from you. I mean, you know, I know you like us seeing bantering back and forth, but we
I like
want to hear from you. Yeah, exactly. But we want to hear from you. We want to hear your comments, your thoughts, anything, and we can just share it on here. We can give you our opinions on your opinions. So,
it.
but yeah,
Yeah. I think that's going to be it for us tonight. But before we go, as a reminder, of course, if you're interested in Codename Hunter, please send a message in the comments and ask me, where I can purchase these. Of course,
Yes,
we'll leave a link in, obviously, in the info.
yes, do send him a message on that. If you, like I said, follow him on Instagram and the other one that he said earlier. So please follow him on that. Please buy his comics. They're really awesome. They're great. He's a great storybook writer. All that stuff. So for one more thing before we leave, before we end the episode, I will be away next week. I will be back at the end of the week of next week. So our next episode should be by the end of next week. I will get a little bit into the trade deadline of sports coming up on the MLB. I'll talk a little bit about what teams need, what the Yankees and Mets should need. And then I think we'll talk a little bit about Jack Ryan on the next episode, and also Manifest as well.
Yeah.
We'll give our thoughts on that as well. Is there another topic you want to discuss for next week?
I think we're good.
No?
We're good.
Perfect.
All
Okay.
right. Well, I'm Ian Miller.
I'm Andrew Smith.
This has been Me and Talk with Mo Smith. Have a good night, folks.
Good night, guys.
If you'd like to follow us on YouTube, just hit that like button and subscribe.